Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to our first open lab. Hope you all can hear me okay. So we're going to, what is an open lab? It's just basically we're just going to have an hour or two for drop-ins. If you have questions about something, you can drop in while we're open. Stick around for some quick tips, product updates, news, that sort of thing. And then we're also going to have guests on to talk about products that can help you in your Amazon business, such as the guest we have today, who's here to talk about our latest integration. It's due to happen soon, very soon, within about a week or so. But wherever you're catching us from, you can comment there and we can address your questions live. This is being recorded, and so we'll post this to our YouTube page and our Facebook page as well. So before we get started, I'm just going to have a little drink from my InventoryLab coffee cup. Coffee seems to taste better from this cup for some reason. So if you stick around, you might have a chance to win one as well. So we've got that coming as well. So, but anyway, let's get right back to our special guest. And today's guest is Ian from SellerSnap. So Ian, welcome.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Good. Yeah, thanks for joining us. So people might wonder, what is SellerSnap? So I'll let you dive into that.
Yeah, SellerSnap is an AI Amazon repricer. And what we do is we take an automated approach in order to do two main things. The first one is avoid price wars. And the second is to get the buy box at the highest possible price.
So as far as repricers go, I mean, there's so many options and things, and there's also different types of repricers, right?
Absolutely. There's a few different types of repricers out there. It really boils down to rule-based repricing or AI repricing.
Oh, okay. And so rule-based, that'd be like the most basic type of repricer?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that rule-based repricing works, this is actually the kind of the oldest model of repricing and how repricing has worked since the very, very early days of Amazon. And the way that works is sellers can go in and set specific rules up based on specific rules or criteria. And so what that might look like is, a seller might come in and say, I always want to undercut the buy box, minus a penny. Or, if this specific competitor is on the listing, take this action. And so it's very, it can be very manual in that sense, in that startup stage. So you can, so sellers really have to think about every single strategy and every single thing that can arise in order to kind of set that up properly.
Gotcha. And so you also mentioned an algorithmic.
Yeah. So the second one is an AI repricer, which falls under the lines of what we do. And so what we do is, again, we take that automatic approach. So it's a similar, you can get to similar places, but the difference with the AI is that we are responsive to changes in the competitive landscape. So for example, the situation that I brought up about, undercutting my lowest competitor by a penny, what we see with rule-based repricers often is that, competitor A will undercut competitor B, and competitor B will undercut competitor A. And this keeps going back and forth until somebody bottoms out the price. And where SellerSnap comes into play is that we see that this is happening, and we understand that our competitor is attached to our price because they're attached to our price minus a penny. So what we'll do then is we will capture the buy box and we'll raise to our max price. And that decision is made already knowing that that competitor is going to come with us. And so that's kind of where the learning comes into play.
Oh, okay.
And so what will happen from there is that we'll wait for that competitor to come up, and then we'll go ahead and undercut them. They'll undercut us, and we'll enter kind of a micro price war at the top end of that min-max range. And so the result in both scenarios that I've discussed is getting about 50% buy box share. But with SellerSnap, with our AI, you're getting that same 50% buy box share at a higher price point.
Oh, okay. So SellerSnap kind of avoids that pain point with most reprices of that race to the bottom.
Exactly.
Okay. So what's the benefit in integrating with InventoryLab?
So one of the big benefits about integrating with InventoryLab is the really crucial data point that we're going to be pulling in, which is the cost data. And the reason why that data is really important is actually, there's many reasons why it's important, but the two that come to mind are, one, being able to look at our P&L, right? We want to be able to look at that profit and loss statement and understand, what items are profitable, and understand my biggest winners, my biggest losers, and all those other data points in between. So the P&L, that profit and loss, is super, super important. The second part that an integration like this is going to be really helpful for is to set up that min and max range. Because like most other repricers out there, SellerSnap does require a min and max price for us to operate. And so what we know is that setting up those mins and max prices can be a big task. And so SellerSnap has previously solved one of these problems by creating our min and max calculator, which turns into our auto adjust feature, which will always update your min and max and re-update it based on the changes in your cost. So if it's a change in your buy costs, in any relevant Amazon fees, anytime those changes happen, SellerSnap will update that min and max. So you're always maintaining that the profit, the margins, that you intend. And so what'll be really cool is when sellers are using this auto adjust feature, is that we will be getting that cost data from InventoryLabs. And so should your cost change in InventoryLab, we will pull that in, and we will then update your min and max based on that cost price.
Gotcha. And how often does that do you sync from InventoryLab?
So we will sync from InventoryLab. We actually go looking for a report once an hour. It is how often those reports are ready are dependent. Your team knows best, but are dependent on the InventoryLab platform. But again, we will go searching for that report every hour.
Oh, okay. And so you're not just on the U.S. marketplace or the .com. You guys are on several Amazon marketplaces, right? So
correct. So at the moment, we service all of North America and the EU marketplaces.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to show us the integration, how it all looks on SellerSnap side?
Sure, absolutely.
Ours. All right, let's share your screen here. There we go.
So, when it comes down to the integration, because we are talking about automation, there's not much for our users to do, right? That is the point of our integration with InventoryLab, is to make our customer base, create a little bit more time in their day, so they don't have to pull exports from InventoryLab and re-import into SellerSnap and vice versa. So the integration can be broken down into just a few steps. So the first one is turning on the integration. And the way that our current SellerSnap customers can do that is by clicking Store Settings and going to that main storage settings page. Once they get there, you'll see that will be a new tab that's called Integrations, and that there is an option for InventoryLab there that you simply flip on the switch, confirm the integration, and the really important part is to click Apply at the end.
Okay.
Apply changes. And so once that's done, we can go ahead and you can go ahead on the side of InventoryLab and set up the integration from there. And if you need any help along the way, we've been in touch with your team as well, Jeff, about how to handle support. And both our teams are ready for all kinds of questions that you have, if you have anything in setup. And on the SellerSnap side, you can either contact support directly by clicking that help button in the top right-hand corner of your screen and clicking contact support. Or you can search the knowledge base and you'll be able to read through the article and make sure that everything is being set up correctly and is doing exactly what you want it to do.
Nice. So everything right from within your app, it's all there.
Absolutely.
And since you've shown yours, I'll show you mine and show you how it works. InventoryLab. So pretty similar. I mean, we go up, you click your name in InventoryLab and go to settings, and then go to the integrations page, just like you guys have, and you'll see the integrations we have available. And then all you do is turn on SellerSnap, and when you do, you'll get this modal that pops up. We just kind of remind you to make sure you have any missing costs entered so that SellerSnap gets the correct information. And then once you click connect, you get the success message and it's turned on. So very simple. Yeah, it's simple just like on your end. So takes a lot of the headache out of it for both of our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it will take a lot of the headache out. One of the things that we will be on the lookout for, and this is on the SellerSnap side, is 2 errors that we've identified that we will notify customers of should they happen. So customers will also have the ability to put in an email for the user or users that would be kind of in charge of handling these errors. And so what the errors will do is it'll actually block SellerSnap from updating that cost from InventoryLab. So we will save the cost on our end, but we're not going to update it on our listings table. And so the first one is an error when the cost, and I'm going to take it slow just so I make sure I get it right, is when the cost has a big differential between what we currently have. So if we see a situation where InventoryLab says in a report that your new cost is $10, let's say, but on our end, the old cost was, I don't know, let's make it extreme, $100. We're going to say, oh, there's something wrong here. We are not going to update that cost, because what we don't want to happen is to update that cost to $10. Then your min price gets pulled down and we ruin everything. So there's a bit of a fail-safe there in order to ensure that you are still have that Minimax price in the proper in a proper range.
Is that something? Is that on that? Sorry to interrupt. That first one, is that something the user sets the range, or is it something kind of automated behind the scenes?
It's automated. It's automated on our end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Exactly. We tried to. What I think the idea here is we want to make the setup as seamless as possible, and so we took responsibility for setting those thresholds. And if you have any questions about that, or you have a special circumstance, again, you can go back to that help desk, and we'll be more than happy to work with you through that.
Nice.
And so the second error that we're going to be looking out for is any situation when we're using that auto adjust feature that I told you a little bit about, where my min price ends up being more than my max price. And that's because that auto adjust feature can be enabled or disabled on the min or max level. So let's say I have SKU XYZ. I can have my min price with a minimum markup of 25%, and then set my max price to 100%. And then what I'll do from there is I can disable that. So no matter if my costs change or not, my max price will never change.
Oh, okay.
And so if we do that, if we disable that max price, for example, and then and we import a cost from InventoryLab where that min price, where it would cause that min price to go above my max price, we'll also block that and send that in the error report as well. So the seller can go in and fix that and make sure that that's all aligned and it's doing exactly what they want it to do.
Boy, I can see that saving people a lot of money from those unintended mistakes. Maybe I entered, like in the cost situation, they enter the cost wrong.
Yeah, it
And
happens.
that can, yeah, that I've read some horror stories about that. So that's good. You guys have those kind of fail-safe tricks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
so as far as the integration, do you want to talk about when that's happening and when it's going to be available to everybody?
Yeah. So the timeline looks a little something like this. For the past few weeks, we've been working really hard with your team over at InventoryLab to get everything set up, to get the data flowing, and make sure that that everything is working from a technical standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
This week, we have a group of beta users that are going to be testing out this feature starting on the 1st. And we're doing this kind of as a soft launch. And so from the 1st, and that's Monday, I believe, Monday through Friday, that's going to be kind of the soft launch, making sure that any final tweaks are we fix any kind of tweaks or anything that might need to happen during that time. Mm-hmm. And then on the 8th, we will be rolling it out to the general to kind of the general public. It'll be our general rollout. And so that's really the date that we're looking forward to, is the 8th of February. All the options will be live on both SellerSnap and InventoryLab, and we're going to be super excited to get everyone hooked up and hopefully save our sellers a ton of time every day.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about this too. This is going to be great. Have this available, just another tool available to our mutual customers, and so. Yeah, so that's great. So on the 8th, it'll be available in SellerSnap and also in InventoryLab. So look for that. We'll also have notifications in the app to kind of remind you. But you available to answer maybe any questions that people might have that are watching?
Absolutely. I'd love to.
If you have any questions, just put those, comment in Facebook or comment on the YouTube stream, and we'll get those answered. And also, we're going to be doing a giveaway, like I mentioned. One of these nice cups is part of it. So just comment as well if you want to be included in the drawing. We know some people don't want to get swag, so we're just going to leave it to you. So comment if you want to be part of the giveaway, and also throw your questions out there if you have any.
Quick comment about that cup, everybody. I was speaking to Jeff last week, and that's when he poured that cup of coffee, and it's still hot. So
still hot. That's right.
Get it while you can.
Yeah, it's been sitting here all week waiting for the demo. So, okay, Ray has a question from Facebook or from YouTube. The subscription pricing. So I can pop that screen up, and you can talk about how the pricing goes. There we go.
Yeah, that's a really great question, Ray. The first thing that you should know is that all of our pricing is super transparent on our website. So you can go to sellersnap.io and check out our pricing page. And so you'll notice that our 3 main tiers are displayed there. And I'm going to talk about, the first two I'm going to talk about is the standard and premium plan, and then I'll talk about our Accelerator program a little bit more. So our standard package is our general repricing package that has that AI repricer and all the analytics that we spoke about before. And so that actually covers one store up to 15,000 listings. And when we take one step up to that, our premium subscription is $800 a month, and that covers 3 stores up to 30,000 listings. Oh, And so that premium account comes with those kind of additional resources in terms of stores and listings, but also comes with a bunch of other data points such as returns and reimbursement data, sales rank. We have scheduled reports there as well, and a whole bunch of other features that we can go on, and you can learn a little bit more about on our website. And so So for a lot of sellers, those kind of medium large sellers fall into one of these 2 subscription models. And so for the lifetime of SellerSnap, we haven't changed our pricing, and it's been like this, and been really helpful for sellers of that in that range of, I would say medium to large. And what we did in early 2020 was that we took a look at the different kinds of customers that could be using SellerSnap and trying to understand why not. And so we noticed that we're missing out a little bit on being able to provide this awesome premium repricing service to growing sellers. And so we made a really conscious effort to develop a program that we're really proud of. That's called the Accelerator Program. And what we have done is we've taken that standard package, we've taken all the functionality within it, and we've made that available to growing sellers in order to give everyone a chance to use a premium repricing model, or a premium repricing package, I should say, that is similar to the ones that those big sellers that you're competing against on your listings are using, because that they have those big sellers are using high quality repricing tools in order to compete. And so we wanted to make that available to everyone. And so the way that the Accelerator Program works is that there are 3 criteria that we need to cover. The first one is, having only one store and then the second is having no more than 1,000 listings. And the third is that sellers can't have made any more than $30,000 in any of the 3 months before leading up to SellerSnap, before talking to SellerSnap. And so the idea is, again, to get that standard package in the hands of growing sellers. And so the way that works is that we guarantee that that rate of $250 a month, a 50% discount for 6 months. And that 6 months, we'll kind of have another conversation about how to move forward. And that conversation usually takes place with our program manager, Adrian, who, if anyone's in that program, you've probably been in contact with him already.
Oh, that's a great option then for those just kind of wanting to dip their toes into it. Yeah. Let's see. I think we have some more questions here. From Reginald, is inventory age and storage fees taken into account when repricing?
So is inventory age and storage fees taken into account during repricing? So right now, it is not. We do not take those data points into account when repricing because these are data points often that we get that aren't live, as I should say. So inventory age, for example, comes from a report called the Inventory Health Report. And that report does not come in frequent enough in order for us to make informed decisions based on that. And that's the same thing with storage fees, because storage fees get tacked on later on based on how long that item was actually in Amazon's FBA. So again, it's the complicated part is that data is not fresh enough in order for us to make live repricing decisions on. But it's a really good question.
Yeah, great question. All right. From Adrian, how is SellerSnap helping to deal with high price alerts?
So SellerSnap is doing actually a few things to deal with high price alerts. But the first thing we need to do is understand what is a high price alert and why does it happen. So what we've kind of found through our research and our observations is that high price alerts happen for 2 main reasons. The first one is price gouging, which is something that is are thresholds that are set by Amazon and kind of a system that was hastily put into play during the very early stages of the pandemic in order to stop sellers from overpricing things like face masks, hand sanitizer, toilet paper, things of that nature. And it's kind of spread across multiple categories. And so that in itself is a complicated field to navigate, because what ends up happening is Amazon doesn't say, what price gouging is. And so we have to make a lot of assumptions. And so one thing that we do in order to help customers who get flagged for price gouging or other repricing, high pricing errors, is that we will, if an item gets deactivated to one of these errors, we will look in the history and say, and we will look into the API and understand what is that highest point that there's somebody in with an active offer. So for example, we might call the API, say, hey, I have a competitor that is at this price. And we go under the assumption that if we match that price, we are no longer price gouging and we can also be active on the listing. And so if that doesn't if that doesn't actually work, what we'll do is we'll start to lower the price until we reactivate or until we hit min, at which point we'll bring that price back up. So we're not just sitting at min, and the seller will have to go in and manually bring back that listing. The second thing we have to understand is the Amazon price guard. And so what the Amazon price guard is, it's a min and max within your Seller Central account that is there to protect sellers against third-party solutions, much like SellerSnap or InventoryLab. And the reason why it exists is because, I think this was already maybe 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even a bit longer. There was a repricer that had repriced everything to a penny in the UK.
Oh, wow.
and so, the situation was caught pretty early on, but not early enough where some of the orders didn't sneak through. So Amazon was able to cancel some of them, but often, the automation was just taking hold and, those items are flying out of FBA anyway. And so what Amazon did to combat that was they created this price guard, which sellers can set in order to say, never let any solution price me out of this range. And so what has happened in the past is often many solutions have the ability to push those data points, those mins and maxes in SellerSnap or in Seller Central. And I believe, Jeff, you and I spoke about this a bit as well, that it is available to InventoryLab also has the ability to push this data point, correct?
Right. Yeah, you can create your batch. You can have the min and max turned on. You can choose to either just keep it stored internally in your InventoryLab account, or you can send that data to Amazon, or you just not use it at all. So you do have that option within our app as well.
Right. And I think that the problem is, much like InventoryLab and SellerSnap and a lot of other solutions out there, is that sellers were able to execute kind of that upload into Seller Central, but may not have known or remembered that they did that. And then what happens is maybe you change a min and max in SellerSnap, and then SellerSnap makes a repricing decision within that min and max in SellerSnap, but it is not within the min and max that you had pushed to Seller Central, causing high price alerts. And so we also have a feature that will allow you to do that. And the way that ours works is that you can say, I want to set my min and max price in Seller Central. The most common setup is 1% lower than my min and 1% higher than my max. And that way we always guarantee that as long as you're kind of getting set up, that you're always repricing within that range and hopefully avoid high pricing alerts. And I think the biggest thing to say is that it is really difficult to for a lot of sellers to get high pricing alerts to 0. But what we want to do is put ourselves in a position to kind of mitigate that risk of letting items go into that stage of being deactivated, because you're not making money when your items are deactivated.
Right. Yeah. You want to avoid that at all costs. So yeah, if you have any other questions for Ian, get those in there. And also comment if you want swag, if you want any of these gifts we're going to be giving away, put your comments in there as well. If you've asked a question, we'll make you part of the the group that is eligible for the swag. But if you didn't have a question but want to be part of that, just comment, and we'll get you in there as well. Yeah, so I guess that's it for the questions. But again, you can reach out to Seller Central, or I'm sorry, Seller Snap, and contact them and get some more information if you like. I think we have the website here. Yeah, there we go. And then look for that integration to be turned on in SellerSnap as well as InventoryLab on the 8th. So, Ian, thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know it's kind of late where you are, so we'll let you go so you can enjoy the evening.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. It was really great to be here, and I just want to say, we had our team here at SellerSnap had a lot of fun working with all of you over at InventoryLab in getting this integration set up. We know it's going to create a lot of value for a mutual customer base.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're excited to keep working with you in the future. And I also wanted to say congratulations. I know this is the first InventoryLab Open Lab, if I'm right.
Yeah. Thanks for being part of it.
I'm so happy to be a part of it, and I think it's so exciting. It's going to be. I'm really interested to see how the Open Lab kind of progresses. As you all do more and more and more, and maybe if this goes well, I'll get to see you back here one day.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back. Yeah, for sure. All right, Ian. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
All right, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care. All right, so yeah, if you want to find more about SellerSnap, just go to support@sellersnap.io with your email, or you can go directly to their help documents there. They have a really good help portal, which show that real quick. So you can go there, search their knowledge base of all kinds of categories here, and you don't have to be a current subscriber to access this. So if you had questions about that stuff, you can feel free to access it. But yeah, it's great to have them here, and appreciate you guys also for joining us. So it gives you just another option for your repricer integration with us. So let's see here next. If you don't have any more questions, I'm going to do a little product update. So there is some downtime scheduled. I want everybody to know about it. Scheduled for this Sunday night, Monday morning from 2 a.m. Eastern until about 4 a.m. Hopefully it'll be less, but plan accordingly. So your InventoryLab account will be unavailable during that time. We hope to get it done quicker than 2 hours, but just kind of plan for that. Also, we'll do a quick demo here of our settings page, just to kind of show you how that looks. You're probably already aware of the settings page because it's out there, but just kind of wanted to show you if you hadn't accessed it yet. Just opening up the account now. Kind of show you how that works. It's pretty slick. It kind of opens up over the top of whatever you're doing, so that you're not stopped from your progress on what you're working on. So let me just share my screen. There we go. So I can access it here from the settings. Or if I was going to change my print settings, I wanted to check that, I can just click there. It slides up, takes me right to the print settings, and then I can turn things on or off as I choose. Again, you can go to the different parts, calculations, where you can set your sales tax rate, discount rate, storage time, if that's applicable. And then also your inbound shipping rate. We get this question too a lot, what's a good average? It just kind of depends on where most of your shipments go. I think over time you'll kind of figure out that it's anywhere from 30 cents to 80 cents a pound, hopefully less for you, but it kind of goes in between those. But as you get shipments and you get those costs, you can kind of figure out based on the weight of those shipments, how much it costs you per pound over time. You can also set up your ideal buy for Scout and Scoutify 2, and then update your category settings as far as total items, great rank, that sort of thing. You know, we do input this initially for your account based on the last information we had, but you can get updated information. I know Chris Grant from cleartheshelf.com and Steven Smotherman from fulltimefba.com. They both put out these lists, so you can check out their sites. And they update those periodically every month or so. So you can update these. And when you update them here, it updates it in Scoutify 2 as well. So you only have to do it in one place, and I find it's easier to do it on the desktop or laptop. Also, you have your listing information. While I'm here, the ship from addresses, you can now add international ship from. So you can set up, you know, any of these countries in the scroll down. So if you're shipping items to a prep center, perhaps, or maybe to Amazon directly from a different location, you can set that up right there. Just pick a different country and set it all up. And again, accounting, you have some of your defaults for refunds and the disposition management page. You can set those defaults right here, what you want to use. And why would you set a default on disposition management? Since we're here, I might as well talk about it. If you find that most of your returns, you know, we use the Amazon disposition. So if you're having an item removed, then Amazon has said that that's unsellable. But as is most of the time the case is that when you get those items back, they're actually not unsellable. You can send them right into Amazon. And so if that's the case and you find that most of your returns are sellable, just change that to sellable, and it's less clicking for you when you're on your disposition management page. And integrations, again, we have the repricer set up. You know, Monday the 8th, we'll have SellerSnap right here. And so we also have the option of Be Cool, Informed, and Aura. You can turn those on. And then you'll notice we have a Zapier integration. If you're not familiar with that, you do have that option now. So we have Zapier that is available. Now, currently, we're limited right now. We have other expenses is the only connection so far. We're just kind of testing the water. So if you have an integration on SellerSnap, or I'm sorry, on Zapier that you'd like to see and some kind of process that you'd like to automate, reach out to support@InventoryLab.com and send us your suggestions for that. So currently you can, you know, when a new expense is added to your other expenses page, you can have that automatically either emailed to you or texted to you, or you could even add it to a spreadsheet. Or when an expense is deleted, you can get notified, or when it's updated. So you could have expenses sent to your spreadsheet. And then if you use also an accounting program like QuickBooks or Xero, you can then, once those expenses are all entered on the sheet automatically for you, you can then upload that into QuickBooks or Xero. In our tax webinar we had recently, Cindy talked about the value of having both InventoryLab and QuickBooks or Xero or some other kind of accounting, full accounting suite, just so that gives you the checks and balances. So you could use Zapier for that. But again, if you have something else you'd like to see automated from InventoryLab, let us know about that. And then when you're done with settings, since we're talking about it, just click on the X here, or I can just navigate. If I wanted to go right to disposition management, I can just navigate there. And there you have it. So do we have any questions? Anybody have questions about anything InventoryLab? We can certainly answer those now. All right, Leilani, is the InventoryLab Minimax setting by user, or is it on the account level? You can set the, let me just jump back in. Get my mouse to work right here. So when you're creating the batch, you can set it down here on Do Not Capture. That's kind of this, if you don't want to worry about Minimax, you can leave it that way. If you want to send it to Amazon each time, you can send it to Amazon. Or if you're using like Be Cool, they allow you to import a Minimax, so you can save it to InventoryLab only, and then you can use that from your closed batches file to export and then import into Be Cool. But if you wanted to send it to Amazon, you just create your batch there. And then going to my old standby folders. So when you list the item, you can set the min and max right here. You can also set it automatically. Just click on the little pencil icon, opens up the new settings page, takes you right to the auto pricing section. And so you can set your minimum price to be a fixed value. It can be a price that's a certain dollar amount or percentage different than your profit or your list price. And it's the same with the max price. So if I want to do, for example, maybe it's 5% lower than list price, and then my max is going to be 10% higher than the list price. So I'm done there, and I click that, and I'm still back at the product details page. One advantage of the new settings is before, if you had to change anything on this while you're adding an item, you had to switch to the settings page. When you came back, all of this would have been gone. You'd have to start over. So now you don't have to worry about it. It stays just as you left it. And you can see by doing that, the min and max are set automatically. So you can set that right from within InventoryLab. It goes to Amazon, and then it sets your min and max in Seller Central for you. As far as Seller Snap, I believe they have their own settings there. So if you were going to use Seller Snap or another repricer, you'd want to either just save these to InventoryLab and not send to Amazon, or not list them at all if you're going to use their own min and max program. It sounds like with Seller Snap, if you're going to use them, you probably should use the Minimax in their system, because it's all part of that AI that Ian talked about. Kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for you. So I hope that answered your question, but if not, yeah, feel free to follow up with a comment. I can take care of that. Does the purchase price transfer to Seller Central? The buy cost, the purchase price that you purchase the item at, does not. That's just kept internally. Amazon doesn't keep track of that stuff. They keep track of the list price. So that's what will go to Seller Central. Now, keep in mind too that if you are adding more, say I already have this item listed on Seller Central, and it's for maybe it's for $20. If I send the feeds for this batch to Seller Central, it will change the list price to this. So if you want the list price to stay the same as you have it on Seller Central, make sure you double check that and use that same list price. And Chris, yes, you'll be able to watch the replay of this. We'll have those links on our YouTube page, also on Facebook, so you can watch it again. But you're here just in time. We're going to be doing a giveaway, so you haven't missed that. So that's good. And if you missed this part, you could get one of these fancy coffee mugs. So anyway, let's see. Let's check out another question. So Ray, if traveling and you do sourcing away from your home office, then source a large amount. If your home base is Ohio and then you purchase a large amount in Florida and want to ship from Florida. So yeah, you can change. I can go to my settings, and If you happen to be in Florida, you can just add an address, and maybe it's the UPS store or something like that. Get their address, and if you're going to create a batch there and ship from that UPS store, you can certainly add that in here as an address, and you can make it primary, so your batch is going to automatically show that as the ship from address each time until you change it. Or you can change it on the batch level. So I can just click on edit, and then I can change the ship from address just by clicking there, and that'll switch that. I can also, again, here on the edit, since we're here, you can edit the name anytime you want, ship from address. You can also change this to do not capture, so when the batch feeds are sent, nothing is captured. So that can change as well. And you see now there's no Minimax there. So just click on this 3 lines here and click on the edit. I hope that answered your question, Ray. If not, just comment again and I can clarify that. Leilani, if I don't have all my Minimax set in InventoryLab and do the SellerSnap integration, will it delete the Minimax I already have in SellerSnap? Oh, that's a good question. That would probably be a better question for SellerSnap. We don't have I don't think that I think that the Minimax is available for them to use, but since they have their own system for the Minimax, they don't pull that from InventoryLab, is my understanding. But to get clarification on that, I would definitely reach out to their support and then see. And as far as importing your Minimax, you kind of have to have that set at the batch level, so you wouldn't be able to import that into InventoryLab. But yeah, reach out to Ian and find out. That's a great question. I just don't want to lead you down the wrong path because I am not sure how that works on their end. Let's see. So the new setting, I think I talked about also. Maybe I didn't, but you can do the custom ASIN shortcuts here that we have. You can add those to your research button. So if you want to use Keepa, you can use that. We get this question a lot. So if you go to Keepa, you just search for an item. Once the item is displayed on Keepa, you just go up to the top and copy this URL. And then you come back into InventoryLab and paste that URL here, and then you can give it a display name. This is a display name for Scoutify 2. This is the icon display, and then you can have it turned on for the list page, Scout, or Scoutify 2, any or all. And then once you do that, you can see that it's on the list page. So now I could open up Keepa just by clicking there. And what we do is, regardless of what item you search for when you initially went to Keepa, we're going to replace that ASIN in the background and show you whatever you're looking at. So for this, if I was to go to Keepa to set it up, I just click search. Once this product was here, I just go up to the URL and copy that. That's what you need to copy. And then that's what you would paste into InventoryLab. And let me just get back to that page because I accidentally closed it out. So that Keepa URL that I just showed you right here, that's what you go and copy in right here to this URL field. And then once you save it, then we all do all the work on the back end. So you don't have to worry about changing it each time. All right. So we have some quick tips. Oh, okay, Dennis. Let's see, how do we reconcile our tax forms from Amazon with IL? So you're never going to get your 1099K from Amazon to match InventoryLab because with our information, you can add in your own other expenses, other income, and those sorts of things. And so there is a process on how to do that. You can see right away that we've got that article right here on the front page, but you can search for it as well. Just search 1099K. And then we give you the steps on how to do that. Right here in this article, there's a link to reconciling. And then we show you what reports you need from Amazon. And then basically what you're going to do is you're going to compare like information. And so you're going to only use information from the profit and loss that is the same on both forms. And so in other expenses, you're going to want to remove certain things that you've added, and you're not going to count the cost of goods sold because Amazon doesn't count that in the 1099, obviously. So you're just going to factor in the expenses that are the same, not the ones that aren't, like cost of goods sold, office supplies, those sorts of things that you add in. You take those out of the mix, and then you can then get a good comparison between Amazon and InventoryLab. Now there is some overlap with the dates because of the way Amazon uses the dates in their system versus what they send us. So, you know, it's going to go up or down month to month, but overall it will match. If you're finding any kind of discrepancies that are really large that you can't figure out why they're so different, then just reach out to support and we can have a look at it for you. It's best though, when you're doing that, make sure that when you get this summary that you just do it by the month instead of like a set of 6 months or for a full year, because we really need to do it month by month comparison. And that's how you should also be comparing. You could try it for a year, but it's better to get a month-to-month comparison so you can double check that. A lot easier on the data for sure, because then you can narrow it down by week if you need to find discrepancies, that sort of thing. Let's see. Switch back to the app here. Just wanted to show one thing real quick. As far as we have quick tips section, I'm just kind of bounce those in between the questions here. But when you review your batch, you know, this is kind of the last step before you get to the shipments, proposed Fba shipments. I'm talking about the product or private method. Let me just do this one here. So when you get to create your shipments, you know, we're sending the information to Amazon. Amazon is the one that actually dictates where the shipments are going to go or where the items are going to go, which fulfillment centers. And so when we get back that information from Amazon, you can see that it splits out a lot of this stuff. But always look at these, and you can see that I don't have any duplicate fulfillment centers. If you see any duplicate fulfillment centers, if you see it once, you're probably going to see several times. And so sometimes the feeds that Amazon sends back, they can, you know, get duplicated. Or if you're using the back or forward arrow on your browser, like using these up here, you don't want to do that. You always want to use the breadcrumbs to go back. But if you're on this page, you're on the proposed Fba shipments page, you can't really go back easily to the batch that you were just on, or can you? Actually, you can. It's kind of obscure, but if you click on this decline shipments and go back button, and this only works if you haven't created a shipment. Once you create a shipment, then this goes away. So this is kind of at the shipping plan stage. So when you click on decline shipments and go back, we're going to make sure you confirm that. What it does is it deletes that shipping plan, takes you right back to the batch, and then you can, you know, edit items. You can try it again. Sometimes by resending those feeds, you may get a different shipping designations. But if you get duplicate shipments, for sure, you want to watch for that, and then just decline and go back, and then hit review batch again, and we'll send those back to you. Another thing that happens that we've gotten a few of these lately, it doesn't happen all the time and it happens a lot less now, but the COVID-19 restrictions are still in effect for some items. And so, you know, if you get this when you've created a shipment, we don't know when for sure, Amazon is going to send this information to us, but if you do get that and you have to adjust shipments, it's always better to do that, by just adjusting the batch. So hopefully you're going to get it when you're on the proposed FBA shipments page, and hopefully you see that. If you do get that, then you can use that decline and go back button to adjust those. If you have created shipments and you've gotten that error, then the only way to really resolve it is to delete the shipments you have created, close the batch manually by clicking here. You can then go back up to the closed batch page and then find that shipment and then just restore it. And once you restore it, it'll be back on the list and prep so you can adjust those. If you run into issues with that stuff, reach out to support. We can kind of walk you through the process, but we kind of don't have any control over when Amazon sends those error messages, so you have to watch out for that. But the decline shipments and go back would work for that as well. All right. Also, since I was there, I should have done it, but let me just get back to that page. So I've got my proposed FBA shipments displayed here for me. Now, obviously, if it's got just a couple of items, they're not, feasible to ship, such as, this one. So I might not want to ship these, but Amazon Terms of Service dictates that I have to create all of these shipments or create none of them. I can't just, pick and choose which ones to create now because I can get a performance hit on that. So you would want to go ahead and you'd want to create these shipments, even though you're not going to process them. Once you ship the first shipment out of this shipping plan, you have 30 days before you have to ship all of them. So again, that's the error from sending that batch feed. Sometimes they're quick, sometimes they're not. If I'm on the shipment, this one is one I could just actually correct from the shipment, so I can show you how to correct that one since we're here. But anyway, you have to create all of the shipments or none of them. So once you've created all of these shipments, you could leave this one in working status for up to 30 days after the first shipment of this group goes. And then as you process other batches, you can use the add to existing shipment option. And it's very easy. You can just go right to our support portal, add to existing. And so what that does is when you're on the proposed FBA shipments, if you have a shipment already created that's sitting in the working shipments window, and it's right here, say I created that 2-item shipment, it's just sitting there. I already have one already, but so FTW1, I don't have any going there, unfortunately, so I'll just use the article. But you'll have the option to add to existing shipment, and that's this button right here. It'll be active. So it's grayed out now because I don't have any current working shipments, but look for that as well, because then that means you can add those items to that shipment. Then it might make that, more cost effective for you to ship out. Those items would automatically be put into that shipment. So watch for that. It's a handy trick. Not a lot of people use it. I think mainly because they're not aware of it, but once you're aware of it, it comes pretty handy. Saves you money in the long run. And then I think that's it. We've answered the questions. We should get, we're almost to the end of this, so we better get the giveaway going. So we're going to be giving away a $50 Amazon gift card, but we're also giving away a couple of swag bags. It'll include several several InventoryLab branded items, just as this handy coffee cup. Cheers. So we're going to do that drawing right now, and we'll, Chrissy or Angie, they're going to tell me who's going to win. And then once I announce your name, so the first we'll just do the swag bag. So if I can get 2 names for that. I guess you could even create a banner and just throw their names in there. All right, Randy H. Randy H, you've won the swag bag. If you want to reach out to support@inventorylab.com and let us know, we'll get that to you. And our next winner, David Carpenter. Congrats, you guys. You guys got the swag bags. It's not just Covet Cup. It's a nice canvas, heavy-duty InventoryLab bag, along with some other handy items that I think you'll like. So now this is the big one, the Amazon gift card. So the grand prize, Leilani Luke, you have won the Amazon gift card. So congrats to all you guys. And Leilani, also reach out to support@inventorylab.com and let us know the best email that we can send that to you. And then Randy H and David Carpenter, make sure you include a shipping address so we can get those sent to you as well. So, well, I appreciate you guys joining me today. It's been fun. It's been great fun having this, and look for your announcement in the app in InventoryLab. We'll also probably email the next one as well, and there'll be a notification posted on Facebook and also on YouTube when the next one is going to be. We'll probably do them maybe every 2 weeks. Maybe it'll be weekly, but definitely within the next 2 weeks we're going to have another one, and see how it goes. And then we may make these weekly. And so if you have questions you need answered, you have the support portal right from within the app. Just click on support here and clear these errors. And it opens up that. You can contact us, and chat's also available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. So that's an option. But if you have just a kind of a general question you want to have shown, it's not going to involve your account, then feel free to post them in Open Lab when we have the next one, and we will we'll get those answered for you. So I'm just scanning here just to clarify the Ray H had a question. It is Randy H or Ray H? Oh, sorry, Randy or Ray. now I'm doing it. Ray, it is you. Ray H, reach out, support@inventorylab.com with your address. We'll get that stuff sent out to you. So sorry, Randy H, if you watch this later, it is not you. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you at the next one. Don't forget to also our webinars, our webinar page, and look for those notifications in app as well. So thanks again. Take care.